Before we start today, I have to tell you about State Farm agent Bryant. A lot of our listeners have gone to him for all their insurance needs, and he's been very helpful in getting them the coverage they deserve. There's no games with Bryant. He's just here to help and make sure you feel safe. So if you have insurance needs and you haven't called him yet, what are you waiting for? Dial up the number, 630-796-2662. That's 630-796-2662. Find him online at bryanismyagent.com. That's bryanismyagent.com. And make sure to mention Sports Talk Chicago. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. I want to start today with this. What's been the biggest problem for the Cubs since 2016? Consistency. Right? Consistency. Every year, there's a new narrative and a different reason why they can't win, why they can't repeat, why they sit in second place at a wild card spot, missing the playoffs entirely. New reason every year. Oh, the bullpen's here, but the pitching isn't. The pitching's here, but hitting isn't. Hitting's here, and nothing else is here. It's a never-ending cycle with this team. Now, usually it wouldn't be a problem. If you're a rebuilder, if you're not talented, wouldn't matter. You want to rebuild and move on to the next generation. I still believe, moving forward, that's the best course of action for this team, but the Cubs have played recently like they don't want to. Fine, great. Here's the thing, though. If you don't want to play that way, if you don't want to rebuild, great. But prove as to why it shouldn't happen. You have to give a reason. You can't just say, we don't want to rebuild, we want to stay, and then play the same way. Something has to give. And we talked about on this program last week that the month of June was going to be very important for the Cubs and their direction. How would they respond? Top schedule, only 3 games against teams under 500. They're facing the Padres now. How would they respond to this? If they did well, that proved that they're a good team. If they could beat all these teams above 500, that means they too belong in that conversation. Common sense. Well, so far, it's been a bit underwhelming. Ever since the Cubs swept the Padres, they lost 2 out of 3 to San Francisco, and they're now losing to the Padres too in that series. And the scary part is, everyone's regressing a bit. Now I know Patrick Wisdom, Jake Marisnick, Sergio Alcantara, some of these guys have come up and they've been hitting well. People who we didn't even talk about a week ago. But the regulars are going down a bit. Contreras, Rizzo, Sogard, Baez, Jock Peterson too, Ian Happ. All of these guys who were 100-plus OPS plus, who were leading the team, who were above-average hitters in baseball, have started to dip. Kris Bryant's the only one still playing very well. Jock Peterson's OPS plus is at 98. Happ, 89. Wasn't like that a few weeks ago when everybody said, oh, they're great. See, I told you, John, you were wrong. No, I was not wrong. I knew this would happen. So obvious. Of course they're going to regress. What do you think? They're going to keep putting up a 120 OPS plus? Those players? Come on. It'd be different if we were talking Bryant, Rizzo, real superstars. We're talking about role players in the grand scheme of things. They're not going to keep that up. Ian Happ, Jock Peterson were not going to keep that up. And now it's showing to everybody what's really going on with this team, what's really going on with them, how talented they truly are. But even the bigger problem right now than the hitting, the starting pitching. This is atrocious. This is the worst I've ever seen the Cubs five-man rotation. The best ERA, the best one, is Alzolay at 4.06. Hendricks, 4.6. Davies, nearly 5. Arrieta, 5+. Trevor Williams on the DL, 5+. Now a word from our sponsor, True Classic Tees. Are you tired of boxy t-shirts that just won't get the job done? What about ones that feel too big and uncomfortable? I have that problem a lot, especially as a taller person. Thanks to True Classic Tees, though, those problems are over. See, I'm wearing them right now. Very comfortable, double stitched for endurance, and custom made to fit your dimensions. And get this, a portion of every sale goes towards helping homeless vets get off the streets. So you're helping out our veterans, and you're buying quality material from a good independent company. Listeners in this program get a discount too. Use John10, that's Jon10, to get 10% off your next purchase. Go to TrueClassicTees.com or find the link in the description of the video. True Classic Tees, top clothing, and a good cause. That is going to be a recurring issue for this team. You can't have 5 starting pitchers, all of which having ERAs near 5. Common sense. If the offense is struggling and your pitchers are performing the same way, giving up 5 runs a game, you're not going to win. And truth be told, that's what's happened. Pretty simple. Simple philosophy. Look, I like this team's fight. I like their spirit. I like their energy. But I think it's safe to say that their talent just isn't there. No one wants to hear that, but they don't have it. Great energy. Great fight. They're willing to do what they can to prove everybody wrong, and that's great. But the talent isn't there. Look, the fact of the matter is, no more Yu Darvish. Management has said, we're not looking to win right now, essentially. And I know reports have changed, and, we saw a report last week that Jed Hoyer said we're going to be buyers at the trade deadline. Well, not if this trend continues. You won't be. They're going to become sellers. At that time, the Cubs were going to be buyers. They were winning 10 games above 500, first place. Now they've lost first place. Now they're 6 games up. And it's only early June. They still have to face a bulk of their tough schedule this month. You've got guys regressing. You've got a rotation that has to give up 5 runs a game. They can't give up any less than 5 runs a game. The bullpen's great, but what's the bullpen going to do when they come in and the Cubs are losing 5-2? That's the problem. The Cubs, right now, are at a breaking point. Plain and simple. One of 2 options exist. The pitching needs to improve. You can't be giving up 5 runs a game. Or you go down with the ship here. I mean, this is really the crossroads of the season right now, this month. You're a couple of games over. You're within striking distance of first place. Really tough schedule to go. And you're starting to see guys regress again. Like at the beginning of the year, when no one hit, then everybody hit. Now we're seeing everybody kind of come back down to earth. The pitching was never there. They were there for 1 week, early on, and that ended quickly. It's a turning point. Right now, as we speak, what are they going to do? How will they react, respond, and adjust to this situation? That will determine whether they make the playoffs, what they do at the deadline, and how quickly this supposed rebuild is going to happen. So these next couple of weeks are crucial. And if I were you, I'd pay attention and be glued to your TV when you watch Cubs baseball. What are they going to do? How are they going to do this year? Everybody's favorite players can't hit anymore. Ian Happ, Peterson, Sogard, whom everybody loved earlier, now can't hit. Contreras is moving down. Baez too. What are you going to do without those guys? What are you going to do when your rotation is giving up 5 runs a game? And that's a given. That's a given. Look at everybody's ERA. That's literally a given. 5 runs a game. I hate to say it, but that is not a recipe for success. That's a recipe for disaster, failure, selling, rebuilding. Now, the positive is there's still some time to shift things up, make them different, change the perception and the narrative. There's still time. The question is, though, can the Cubs make their adjustments? I'm sorry, something has to give in that rotation. Something. Anything. Make some sort of change. This is ridiculous. I mean, that you're relying on Hendricks, Alzolay, Davies, Arrieta, and Williams? Really? How can you call yourself a contender if you're relying on those 5 pitchers? How can you say we're going to be great? We're ready, first place, let's be buyers, when you're relying on that 5-man rotation? You won't win anything. Sorry to break it to you. I know these guys are fan favorites. I get it. This is not a personal attack. Look at the numbers. Every pitcher, with the exception of Alzolay, has an ERA near or above 5. You will not win anything if that's the case. You will not win one game if you have a 3-game, 4-game series and every pitcher you throw is giving up 5 runs a game. You just won't. I don't care how great your hitting is. It won't happen because your hitting won't always be there. That's just a fact. Okay, go look back at the Texas Rangers in the early 2000s. Great hitting. Great team. No pitching. Didn't win. 500 all year. And right now, if the Cubs continue down that path, that's where they're going to be. 500 team. This stuff has to be considered here. This is reality for the Cubs. They're still in it. Nothing's over yet, but something's got to give. They need something for that rotation. I mean, I don't know what options exist. I don't know if you'd like to trade or sign somebody, call somebody up. We've seen enough of this. It's June. Nothing's going to change. I know everybody was happy about Jake Arrieta. Jake Arrieta's old, and he has a 5 ERA. His stuff is gone. Did anybody watch him in Philadelphia? Train wreck. Zach Davies. Zach Davies was a Brewer. So I know that you all know who Zach Davies is. Nobody was impressed with him before. I certainly wasn't. And I'm not really impressed now. Trevor Williams I liked. He was good 3 years ago. Not anymore. Alzolay, only bright spot. And surprisingly enough, it's Kyle Hendricks who can't pitch. I'm not saying things won't improve. There's an opportunity for things to get better. But as it stands right now, it doesn't look good. And I have to reiterate this so I can get my point across. You can't win with that rotation. It's impossible. Impossible. You want to win a World Series with that rotation? Good luck. You'll be bounced out of the playoffs in round 1. That's the issue here. I understand there's a fandom element. I understand, oh, I like this guy, favorite player. I'm trying to give you reality here. Reality is, when you look at these numbers, there should be a huge cause for concern. And the fact that there isn't really concerns me. The fact that nobody cares about this or is going to gloss over it or say, yeah, go Arrieta and, leave it at that, problem. That's a problem. Something needs to change. And there's not much time left to do anything. All of you Cubs fans don't want to rebuild. You've complained about it for years and years and years. You've commented on my videos. You've told me. You've told other people. Writers have said it. No rebuild, because they're fans of the team too now, and they're not unbiased. Fine. If you don't want to rebuild, then how about you make your team better now? You will get a rebuild if that's your 5-man rotation. You will get a rebuild if your favorite players can't perform. If the hitting regresses, you're going to get that. You can't be a buyer at the trade deadline if you have a rotation filled with 5 ERA guys. You can't be a buyer if all of your supposed great hitters aren't hitting anymore or they're regressing. If there's a pattern of regression, they're not buying. They're selling. And there won't be anybody to blame that on, by the way. Don't blame that on the Ricketts or Hoyer. Blame it on the players. The players are the ones who are performing or trying to perform. If they can't get it done, it's over. And that's been said many a time. That was known before the season. If the players can't get it done, there has to be a rebuild. This core is old, aging. They've been around for a while. They had a great run, but it's over. So if you want no rebuild, if you want this team to be great, if you want a playoff appearance, World Series even, you have to demand better performances from the guys you know and trust. Jake Arrieta, I'm sure, is a great guy. But a 5 ERA now won't cut it. Sorry. That's not going to cut it for this team. Ian Happ, great guy. Everybody loves him. Team chemistry, podcast, all that great stuff. Can't win with an OPS plus of 89. And a batting average under 200. These are the facts. All I see all over is, oh, this team's a vibe. That's great. Can we talk about substance? Could we stop skipping over substance, please? All I see is it's a vibe. I love this team. That's great. What do you like about them? Do you like the 5 ERA? Do you like the regression at the plate? But you don't want to rebuild, right? Fine. You don't need to have a rebuild if these guys perform. It's that simple. No one's performing. That's why you're going to get a rebuild. And then guess what? You're going to blame Ricketts, Hoyer, everybody. That's how it works. Demand more from your favorite players. It's not wrong to ask for better performances than a 190 batting average or a 5 ERA. That's correct. That's expected. You can't be a playoff team. You can't be a World Series team when you have your guys completely underperforming. If you truly don't want to rebuild, don't go post on social media saying this team's a vibe, oh, screw the Cubs, screw management. No, say, hey, if we don't want to rebuild, then you have to perform. You have to hit and pitch and win. That's how you avoid the rebuild. There won't be a rebuild if this team wins. Plain and simple. That means this team is good again. That means I just won't keep everybody around and win next year and the year after. But if you don't want that, then that's it. Don't complain on social media saying, well, I don't know what to do, or, oh, I hate Jed Hoyer for doing this to them, or the Ricketts family. They're not doing anything. They see what we see. They see a 5 ERA. They see their rotation crumbling. They see hitting, or I should say lack thereof. It's not wrong to want to make your team better. I didn't see anybody opposed to the 2012 rebuild with Theo and Jed. Why is there opposition now? Because they're World Series champions. Great. It's over. Time to move on and chase the next World Series. You can't chase the next World Series if you're still enraptured in the first one. That's the big problem here. So if you're the Cubs, perform. If you're Cubs fans, demand performance. That's how you avoid this stuff. Demand excellence. If you demand it, it'll come. And if these guys can't perform, everybody's better off. It might be painful in the beginning. But I'll tell you this much, in the future, you'll thank everybody for them deciding to cut the cord. More to come here on Sports Talk Chicago. My interview with Teddy Greenstein comes up next, so stay tuned. Hey, do you want to make some money this weekend? What if I told you I could offer you $250 free to bet on any game you want? Here's what you have to do. Go to sportstalkchicago.com/cash. sportstalkchicago.com/cash. Must be 21 plus, must be an Illinois resident. You can bet $250 free on any game you want for this upcoming weekend. Cubs and White Sox are back, NBA playoffs in full swing, plus, of course, Bears prop bets. This is, without question, the best time to put down some money and win a whole lot more back. That's sportstalkchicago.com/cash. sportstalkchicago.com/cash. You have a gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.